You may have heard of the idea of taking your power back from a narcissist, but what exactly does this mean? This is a really subjective, abstract phrase, but I want to share with you my idea of what it means and how to do it. Welcome to Looking Behind the Mirror, where we explore narcissism and take our lives back as we make sense out of nonsense. As a quick disclaimer, everything I say is based on my opinions and my personal experiences. I'm not a professional, and if you're really struggling, I encourage you to seek professional help. I am providing links below for you. Hello. This is Marshall's turn in this show. He wants to be... Oh, you're ruining my bed. Okay, so I'm gonna go over some different ways that narcissists take our power away from us in the way that I perceive it. First of all, narcissists make us doubt ourselves. We doubt our own judgment. We doubt our self-worth. We doubt the validity of our opinions, of our preferences. We doubt everything about us. We doubt our own sense of reality sometimes. They do this through gaslighting us, through shaming us, even ridiculing us, or somehow convincing us that our ideas, our preferences, maybe even our sense of humor is just wrong, that these subjective things are wrong in us and correct in them. If I could describe power as anything, I think confidence would definitely be one of those things. And anybody that's chipping away at your confidence is taking away your power. Another way that narcissists take your power is they take your focus. They keep you focused on them. However it is they might do that. Maybe it's through fear. Maybe you're constantly focused on their mood, afraid of their next tantrum, worried that you're not doing things correctly, walking on eggshells. Or maybe they're just constantly demanding things of you and you're just so busy trying to make them happy that you don't have time to focus on yourself. You don't have time to even think about yourself or what you would like or how you would like to be spending your time. Narcissists keep you very distracted just the same way that cults keep you distracted and just don't give you a chance to think about what you could do for yourself. That's a way that people can take your power from you, is taking away your time. Another way that narcissists take your power away is just telling you what to do. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the other two, taking away your time and then also convincing you that everything you think, everything you want is wrong. On top of those things, they'll also tell you what you should do. Oh, you want to go back to school? Well, that's stupid. That's a waste of time. Why would you want to do that? Here, come work for me at my company instead, or invest money in my thing that I want you to invest in instead. So they'll tell you what to do. They'll tell you what you should be spending your time on. Maybe it's just cleaning the house or cooking for them or doing their laundry or whatever. It's hard to find your own power and your own identity when you're constantly being told what to do, what to believe, what to focus on, what kinds of things you should learn, what you should think, where you should work, where you should not work. Narcissists also create a feeling of helplessness and hopelessness within you, a feeling of futility. I think most of us have probably felt this feeling when we've been trying to communicate, when we are spending all of our energy trying to think of ways to get our point across, trying to finally bridge that gap and finally somehow make the narcissist understand what we've so desperately been trying to say. This is really distracting when we're just lost in this helplessness, because trying to make anything work with a narcissist or trying to get the narcissist to do or understand or say anything is very, very distracting. It's very disempowering because it's impossible. And I saved what I feel is the most important way that narcissists take away your power for last, and that is that they become enmeshed with you. And I don't really know whose quote fault this would be. I think that this can happen in all kinds of unhealthy relationships. I think that two people that are prone to enmeshment can kind of naturally become enmeshed with each other, and it's not really anything either of them are thinking of. What I mean by enmeshment with a narcissist is the kind of relationship where you feel so connected to the narcissist, so dependent emotionally, that you can't sleep at night unless the narcissist is in a good mood. Like, you can't let an argument just go. You can't stand the idea that the narcissist is upset with you, or that the narcissist doesn't like the way you did something, or that the narcissist has accused you of something you didn't do. You feel a need to control the narcissist's opinions and feelings and moods. When the narcissist is upset, you feel responsible for that. It's really, really upsetting. It's really frightening, and you feel absolutely directly connected to the way the narcissist is expressing him or herself. You can't just walk out of the room and say, well, if you're gonna throw a tantrum, fine, go ahead and throw a tantrum. I'm going shopping. You really have a really, really hard time doing that. You feel this responsibility pulling you into this enmeshed relationship, this responsibility to solve all of these problems, whatever it takes. The opposite of this enmeshment is your autonomy, finding your autonomy, finding your individuality, finding your own voice and what you want and what you think. All those opinions that you were ridiculed for, standing up for them and realizing that your opinions are just as valid as anybody else's, and no longer feeling this urge to defend yourself, to explain yourself to somebody that really doesn't care about you. Taking your power back is taking back your ability to make your own decisions, to control your own emotions, to interpret your own reality, and to take action for yourself, and to be okay with the idea that doing any of these things might cost you the relationship, to value your own autonomy and your own power more than you value the relationship, to see yourself existing outside of the relationship, to really feel an internalized belief that you have a right to make your own decisions and that you don't need the narcissist's approval on things. Now, how do you do this? If you've been struggling with this for a long time, if you have fallen into a long-term pattern, maybe even a lifelong pattern of constantly giving your power to other people, of constantly deferring to what other people think, of constantly questioning yourself and allowing other people to direct your life, this isn't something you're going to be able to give up overnight, especially if you're in a close relationship with somebody that's been taking advantage of this. I think just becoming aware of it is one of the most important steps, because once we become aware of the moments in which we're giving away our autonomy, I think that we naturally will be able to correct ourselves over time through awareness. And of course, I really do believe that ending the relationship with a narcissist is a very important step. I really don't know how you could take your power back and still remain in contact, at least still in the relationship. I know that sometimes it's not always possible to completely cut the relationship off, but at the very least, I think that contact needs to be extremely minimal, and that there really can't be any kind of emotional relationship intact in order for this to work, because it's just way too easy to fall back into old patterns. And I know for me, one of the hardest things is to gain control of my own emotions, because narcissists know how to push your buttons. Even when you're completely aware of what they're doing, they seem to know just what to say and how to say it and when to say it to really get you riled up. And for me, when I was trying to unlearn this and trying to learn how to control my emotions, I had to accept that sometimes my heart was going to speed up, sometimes my face was going to go red. You really can't control those kinds of reactions. but you can pause. You can stop yourself, and if they text you something that really makes you angry, makes you want to react, you can force yourself to not respond. Don't text back. At least wait for an hour or two and think about what you're going to say. Think about the reality of the situation. Gain control of your own emotions. Don't just say the first thing that pops in your head when you're really riled up. Be aware of when you're riled up, and be aware of the fact that when you're really riled up, you're probably not going to make the most rational decisions of ways to respond to things, especially things that are especially designed to provoke you. Something else you can practice is to stop serving the narcissist before yourself. It's okay to pay attention to what you need in life. It's okay to do things for yourself. You don't always have to put everybody else first. I think in this society, we look at this as some kind of noble trait to put other people ahead of ourselves. And I mean, if it's your children, that's one thing. But other than that, there's nothing wrong with putting yourself first, your needs first. It's great to help other people. It's great to make sacrifices for people that actually appreciate it, or for people that would be willing to sacrifice things for you. That's great. But when you start giving up really important things, when you start ignoring your own needs and just keeping quiet with things that you really want to say, when you start shutting yourself down in order to serve somebody else's needs, somebody that isn't thinking about you, somebody that would not do the same thing for you, that's a huge part of giving your power away. It's okay if you're too tired to make dinner. If the narcissist is really upset over something like that, just let him or her be upset. Of course, if you're in actual physical danger, that's a completely different situation. And I mean, that doesn't count. Don't put yourself in physical danger. But other than that, don't let somebody else control your emotions so much that you are doing things that you really, really, really don't want to do because you're afraid of what's going to happen if you don't, or you're afraid of disapproval. You're afraid that someone's going to be mad at you. And as I was talking about futility and hopelessness a little earlier, stop chasing these rainbows. Stop thinking that if you just keep trying, somehow you're going to get through to the narcissist. Somehow you're finally going to make him or her understand. Narcissists keep us on this hamster wheel where we're just constantly trying and trying and trying, and we somehow think that if we just keep trying, someday we're going to get it. Someday we're going to find that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and it's all going to be worth it. I don't know how they keep us believing this, but there is no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You can stop believing in your relationship if you're with a narcissistic person. If you're with somebody that treats you like your feelings don't matter. If you're with somebody that makes you feel like trying to communicate is futile, like they never listen to you, they don't care about what you have to say, and the only way they can respond to any of your complaints or concerns is to explain to you why you're wrong, and explain to you why they don't need to change anything, and explain to you about what you need to accept, and just basically shutting you down. I mean, that kind of relationship is just, I'm going to come right out and say it's just never going to change. I really don't think it's ever going to change, and in the 1 in a billion chance it does, I don't see why it would ever be worth taking that kind of chance, because you could be spending your time in a much healthier, much more rewarding, much more reciprocal relationship. So that's another way to take your power back, is to stop believing in a relationship that has always let you down, to stop chasing that rainbow, to stop looking for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's not there, and it's never going to appear. Another really important part of taking your power back is to assert boundaries. And of course, this is really closely connected to your autonomy, to your individualism. I think the concept of boundaries can be a little confusing. It's a little abstract. I think a really good example, at least that pertains to what I'm talking about here, is the emotional boundaries that we need to establish in order to separate ourselves from an enmeshed relationship. So what I mean by this is, if you are in a relationship with somebody that tries to guilt you into things, drops hints that you haven't done enough, or that you need to feel bad for them, or that you need to try to make them feel good or whatever. Maybe a really simple example of this would be maybe somebody that's fishing for compliments, and you know this pattern because you know this person really well, and you know that if you don't give them this compliment they're fishing for, that they're going to sulk all night long and give you the silent treatment, so you better do it. I mean, boundaries are when you just stop playing those games. Boundaries are when you get up to that line where you know, oh, here comes the guilt trip, and you just let the guilt trip happen, and you separate yourself from it, and you stop feeling obligated to participate in these games. Like, let's say that you're on your way home from work and you need to stop by the store really quick to grab something, and you know that the narcissist at home for some reason really likes to go to this store, and you know that if you go to the store without inviting the narcissist, that they're gonna be all butthurt that you went without them, but you live like half an hour away, the store's right here, you really need to grab something, so you're like kind of caught in this no-win tug-of-war kind of situation. Well, emotional boundaries would be where you decide that it is practical for you to stop and go to the store. You're a grown-up. You have the right to stop and go to a store to buy an item that you need, and then drive home. And then when you get home and you know that the narcissist is going to say something like, "You went to the store without me? I wanted to go. Why didn't you tell me?" Instead of engaging in this and trying to defend yourself and argue about why you just needed to go this one time, I mean, you really are more capable than you think of separating yourself from these kinds of manipulations, this kind of enmeshment, these kinds of guilt trips. You can really just look at somebody that behaves this way and have confidence in your own autonomy, and know that you have a right to go to a store to get an item you need, and you are not obligated to take somebody else with you. And so when you really feel that confidence and that autonomy, and you have those emotional boundaries in place, you can look at this person and just kind of shrug and go, oh, maybe next time. And you don't need to get involved in a 3-hour argument about it. You don't need to involve your emotions in their problem. And that is one of the most powerful things that you can learn. That is taking your power back. That is keeping control of your emotions. That is having confidence in your own decisions. That is not allowing an enmeshed relationship to ruin your whole night for no reason. It's also not coercing you into doing impractical, silly things like driving all the way home first to pick up this person that you know is going to throw a fit if you don't take them to the store with you. Taking your power back is an act of no longer taking responsibility for somebody else's feelings or moods. It doesn't mean being totally inconsiderate or not thinking about someone else's feelings, but it also means thinking about your own and not taking responsibility for the way someone else feels. It's one thing to be outright rude and inconsiderate. It's another to feel like you have to walk on eggshells and you have to go to these extreme, unreasonable lengths in order to protect somebody else's feelings. You can stop yourself every time you come up to a situation where you start to feel your power slipping away, and ask yourself, what do I think of this? What is really reasonable here? Am I really doing something wrong? Am I really obligated to do this thing? Do I really need to worry about what the narcissist thinks? Does it really matter what their opinion is of this? Does it really matter how they feel in this particular situation? Does this have anything to do with them at all? Ask yourself, what do I want? Or what do I prefer? What do I like? What do I want to spend my time doing? And be confident in your own decisions and let go of what the narcissist thinks. Allow the narcissist to be upset. Allow the narcissist to think that you're being selfish when you know that you're not being selfish. As much as narcissists want to make you feel otherwise, boundaries are not a crime. Having your own opinion, contrary to the narcissists, is not a crime. And the narcissist's anger, frustration, and guilt trips have nothing to do with you. This is what I think of when I think of taking our power back from a narcissist. Narcissists are like emotional vampires that just keep us chasing this rainbow, keep us totally distracted, keep us focused on them, keep us worried about what they think or how they feel or how they're going to react. And we don't have the time to sit and think about ourselves and who we are and what we think and what we want out of life. Taking our power back is about learning the difference between being selfish and just taking the time to think about ourselves and taking care of our own needs. It's about learning the difference between being considerate, generous, giving, and thoughtful, and giving everything we have to the narcissist until there's nothing left for us, running ourselves into the ground. Narcissists will have you believe that thinking of yourself, doing things for yourself, making sure that your own needs are expressed or met is somehow robbing them, is somehow wrong and selfish. Learning what we actually have a right to do, learning that we have a right to take care of ourselves, learning that we have a right to recognize our own preferences and to keep control of our own emotions and to keep up a boundary between us and other people and to keep our own autonomy, our own individuality, our own identity. This is how we take our power back. I hope this helps. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below any ideas you have for me for future videos. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this video and would like to see more like it in the future. Until next time, thanks. Bye.